Hey there! Welcome to the second, slightly belated Randomer Nintendo. I'm Jason. I got two co-hosts with me. We have Angel.
Do you say
Angel.
cute or two?
What?
It's not like you said cute. Like,
It's going to be a cute show, guys. It's going to be so cute. It's going to be totes adorbs. But yeah,
Angel
also the
is pretty
second.
cute, so.
Yeah, oh, yeah. But anyway, we have Angel on one side, and we have Kevin. Now I need to give you a compliment. Okay, we have cute Angel and handsome Kevin as the two co-hosts. Yeah, how are you guys doing?
Wow, I've moved from naive Angel in the first episode to cute Angel.
Yeah.
I wonder what I'll be
every
next.
single one we got to give you a new modifier on your name. Yeah, new adjective.
I'm up for it.
Well, I'm doing fine. Don't think I've ever verbalized this to the podcast. Maybe. Well, podcast does know that we have Rhythm Heaven arcade machine. Jason's played it. I don't know if Jason's talked about that yet.
You talked about it on the old normal random Nintendo back when you first got it, I think. It's a grand old time. That's my addition to your original impressions.
Yeah, there's this footage of Jason playing it.
Sucking at it, per usual, with any game.
Your words.
My words.
The point is, after a long time, my brother and I finally made some pretty significant headway.
After enough
in
time,
our remodeling.
I hate Rhythm Heaven.
Oh,
it's so fun, but I'm so bad at it. That's the thing. I just have no rhythm.
No, I was joking. Like after like.
You were
gonna go the route. After
we
thinking
put some
about
time
it,
in.
Rhythm
And
Heaven sucks.
$3,000 later.
You were sure.
No. Rhythm Heaven's great. No, it just sounded like you were gonna say.
I think I was going in that
I'm
direction.
done.
Yeah, like, you know what? What I consider my favorite franchise, garbage.
That's me.
Complete trash.
Yeah,
Killed
more like
my
Rhythm
dog.
Hell, right? Well, point is, we finally started actually, we just kind of forced that way through remodeling the garage. Like, we just stopped kind of waiting for some things. Guess because we kind of had to, thanks to, in part to Comic-Con. But, yeah, we've actually gotten it to a point where the Rhythm Heaven arcade machine is now always basically on display and basically always easily accessible and ready to play, as well as our finally built and installed Ninja Turtle arcade machine, which is a 1-up arcade machine. If you guys don't know what those are like basically scaled down versions of full-size arcade machines for the home. So
Are
they
those
have
the ones
Street
that
Fighter,
they
they have Mortal
sell
Kombat.
at Best Buy?
Yeah, like Walmart and Best Buy and that kind of stuff.
And Target. Shout out to Target.
And they're literally the same arcade machine, just scaled down. Like, they just grabbed it in the corner and just dragged the mouse just to scale it down a little. But so when you just build it, and it was a build. Like, I was not
Wait,
expecting.
you build the 1-up machine, the arcade one? I thought they were just made,
cool.
like prefab.
That's what I thought too, or I thought they were going to be mostly made, but it was like IKEA gave it to you. It was like so many panels, like connect wire X to wire B, and yeah, there was a lot of screwing. Good thing we have an electric screwdriver, so that kind of helped. But yeah, once you build the whole thing, it's comfortable enough for maybe a 10-year-old to play it. But it does come with a riser so that you can make it essentially as tall as a normal arcade machine would be. And even though the screen is definitely on the smaller side, it's maybe a 20-inch screen. It looks really good, and damn, turning it on and hearing the Ninja Turtle theme song play, and the fact that we have it in a nice, against the wall. It's basically where the TV used to be, which I know both of you should have a frame of
Which is
reference for
great information for us two, and of zero use to anyone else listening.
Yeah, the TV is now on a different wall, and on that wall is now just the arcade machine and some display
crazy.
cases.
Well,
I've never thought of you pivoting the room like that. That's for those listening. So it sets the scene here, Lil. That garage and that bedroom attached to it have gone through multiple evolutions in the 10+ years since college ended for us.
That's right. It used to actually be a garage when we actually recorded.
It used to be a real garage.
Podcast.
We once had Nintendo, as we've talked about around Nintendo, we once had Nintendo bring Mario and Luigi full costume characters to this garage in peak cluttered garage form for a Mario Party that Angel won with some help from me writing the tweet. And it's been through many iterations since, and I've slowly turned it from less of a garage into more of a hangout, like a man cave, if you will. But you've never, ever taken the TV out of the spot it's currently in. It's always been against that wall. So this is a very big deal that very few people out there will appreciate the gravitas of, that you actually pivoted the room.
It's gonna be weird going to your place now.
Yeah, it's
It
gonna be
feels
like
kinda
stepping
nice
into
'cause
a
it feels
foreign
like-
land.
Because the TV is now on, the longer of the walls, it feels much more ample.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I don't know. It's nice. It feels less cluttered.
Well,
now the challenge is going to be
Which makes sense.
For the
'cause
last-
it was the size of the wall.
And
So
not
it
only
makes
that,
sense.
but like for the last year, it was Elvis's workshop.
That's true.
Oh yeah, and those speaking of which, those Satan heads, they're going to be picked up tomorrow.
Nice.
Okay, context again for the broader listener. Elvis is not a Satan worshiper, at least not publicly, but he is sculpting.
Like, how do you go about getting multiple Satan heads?
Well, so Elvis, for those who don't know, everyone knows who Elvis is that listens, but he did this cool thing with the Binding of Isaac guys, where he is actually sculpting correct me if I'm wrong on this, but basically sculpting one of the tiers of prizes for a Kickstarter for Binding of Isaac physical card game or something like that, right?
Yeah, 4 souls.
Yeah, 2 different tiers.
Yeah. So he, all the Satan heads that the folks that did the highest tiers got, they were handcrafted by Elvis for the past year, and that room, has been his studio, if you will.
Yeah, there was such a long period of time where we just couldn't really have anyone over because all the head sculpts were just on the table that we used to use, to eat on or
and
drinks
COVID,
on or whatever.
But also Satan heads stop people. Yeah, but
so that feels nice. I mean, literally right after this, I have to go back and clean some stuff up. We're pretty much throwing stuff away and cleaning, but yeah, I mean that's how I've been. Things have been good. It's nice to finally use that Ninja Turtle. Actually, we're not even going to use it. We're probably just going to leave it on and put the volume down because, as you know, that is from the era where we weren't the biggest fans of the beat 'em up. I guess, especially the Turtles ones. We just love it that it's Turtles, so it's going to be more of like a
show
it's
piece.
just on there for show. On top of the fact that, we do have the modern Ninja Turtle arcade game, plus all these games are going to be in the Kawabunga collection later this year, so we'll play them on a huge TV. Like, unless someone really wants it for the novelty, like, you could play. It does have 4 arcade sticks and 4 sets of buttons, so you can do 4 players on it, but oh my god, that's going to be so cramped. But I'm sure we can make it work. But yeah, I mean, that's how I've been.
What about you, Kevin? What multi-$100 arcade machine did you buy, and what room did you spin 90 degrees?
So I haven't done any of that. Last week we went to Comic-Con, and today I finally unpacked everything.
I haven't even done that yet. Yeah, I still have my stuff in bags.
Yeah, I unpacked everything. I hung up everything that I didn't wear, which was a lot. I think so I went to Orlando last month, and I overpacked then. And I thought for this trip to Comic-Con, like, I'll keep it light. I definitely kept it more light than I did Orlando, but I still didn't use like half the clothes that I brought over. So I did that, and I did my laundry for everything that I did wear. So that was it today. But no, I didn't spend money on an arcade cabinet. But I am thinking of.
I mean, I spent that money last year. This is good there.
You're only saying it now, so as far as the other end of this recording is concerned, you just spent it.
No, but I am thinking of...
The worst part is that those are like $200 cheaper now. So I could have technically waited. No. The Rhythm Head one's still like hard to find. The Ninja Turtle one,
the Ninja Turtle one's gotcha.
Because they bought that when it came out for, I think it was like $6.99, and I think they're at Best Buy now for like $5.99 or something.
I feel like Arcade One Up in general, there's been some that haven't performed super well that they've dropped the price. There's some that are really popular, but they're relatively speaking. But there's some that definitely have underperformed. So yeah, if it's one of those things that unless you're gonna set up day one, my advice with that whole line of arcade machines is just wait till the moment you want it. Like to actually have it active because you will probably see a price drop. Yeah.
That I don't know. It's a 50-50 because it's really hard to tell. Because
it won't go
Ninja
up
Turtles
in price.
No. I mean, whether they're available, because some are really hard to find, or you just can't find them anymore.
Right.
Because Ninja Turtle arcade machine, it's like when anyone talks beat 'em ups, especially of that era, it's always Ninja Turtles or The Simpsons. Basically, Konami was a king. So you think like, oh, those are going to be the ones that sell out. I'm not going to risk it.
Right.
That's sure enough, they're there.
That's.
But
fair.
like And then Street Fighter that I'm like, oh my god, they have like a bajillion versions of Street Fighter. Like, who's gonna get that one? They probably have like 8 versions at home, and that's the one that's like hard to find everywhere. So
I have to imagine
I
it's
guess
easier to say you're a Street Fighter collector and buy every Street Fighter than it is to be like, I'm gonna buy one Ninja Turtle, and you know what I mean. Like if someone's collecting, they're collecting. So
yeah, I guess just use caution. If it's something that you really really want, just get it. But if you're like, this could be nice in my place, then you might as well wait until.
But speaking of gang things, I feel like Kevin, we cut you off.
Yeah,
you were starting to say you were gang something.
No, so about a month ago, I built my first custom keyboard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the one with the knob.
Yeah, the one with the knob. Yeah, and tomorrow the same company is going to do a drop of the same keyboard, but in different colorways. So I'm thinking about picking another one up and using one for work. So
real quick,
yeah,
more context. I think my role today is context guy. So real quick, by tomorrow, Kevin means Tuesday, because we're recording this belated episode on a Monday night. So if you're listening to this on Wednesday, it already dropped. Sucks to be you. But if you're listening to this on Tuesday, you may still have a chance.
Yeah.
Continue.
Still may have a chance. Yeah, it is the Melitrix Zoom 65. It's a 65% keyboard, or I think it's just a 60% keyboard. I really love small keyboards. This thing is not necessarily portable because it weighs a ton. It's very, very heavy.
Not about the size?
It's not about the size, it's about the weight. Correct. No, but I just like smaller keyboards, and I had tons of fun building this keyboard. It's essentially what I did is there was this the name of the board is the Zoom 65, and there's a specific version that came with the PCB, the case, switches, and keycaps. And I didn't really care for the switches or the keycaps, so I went ahead and bought my own, and then put the entire thing together. And I love I love how it sounds. I love the keycaps. I used I think these are called the GMK Red Samurais, which are red keycaps with yellow with a yellow font, but under each letter is a hiragana character. So that's where the samurai part comes in. Just a little.
I was about to ask. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I can't actually type in hiragana with them. I'm sure there's probably like some keyboard plugin that you can buy, or you could just download off like Windows or GitHub or something like that, where you can actually type with hiragana, and I could probably map those characters onto the keyboard. But regardless, I just think it looks really cool, and yeah, I'm thinking about taking a plunge. It's a very expensive hobby as well. Like, this thing is not cheap. Well, for the whole thing, it was $200, but that comes with its keycaps and the switches, and since I am just using the board and the case, I have to buy switches and keycaps, and keycaps are not cheap, let me tell you. The set of keycaps that I bought ran me like $90.
Wow.
And then depending on what kind of switch you want, those can also run you a pretty penny. The switches that I got are called Gateron Yellow Milky Pros, and they're very, very inexpensive, but they have a great feel and a great sound to them that I love so dearly. And I'm debating whether I want to use them again, or broaden my horizon with like a different type of switch. But I just love how they sound. So that's my current internal struggle for this. But yeah, aside from that, I've just been chilling, been working a lot, and been playing on my Steam Deck. Man, that thing is still surprising me. Every single game that I throw at it surprises me with its performance. Is great.
I bet you. One of the things that kind of surprised me at Comic-Con, so when we were, us and Elvis and a few others shared a hotel at Comic-Con, and I think we had a more Steam Decks per capita in that hotel room than anywhere else in the world. There are two Steam Decks out of 4 people. Like, I know they're increasing production now, but like if you said that in like February, like we had 2 Steam Decks among 4 people, that would have been crazy, unheard of. So.
Yeah,
and 2 switches?
Yes, and 2 switches. We were very even.
3 switches, because I think Nigel had his...
Oh, yeah, 3 switches. Yeah, that's true.
Let's talk about that hotel. Should we get into? Jason,
Yeah, well,
how have
let's
you
real
been? How have you
quick.
been, Jason.
I've been
we
good.
Didn't talk about you. Let's talk
No,
about
I
how
guess
you've
we do
been.
have to ask.
I've been great.
And then we'll talk Comic-Con.
I've been running all over the place. I feel like I've been on different trips these last few weeks, which have been super fun. So you guys are spending money on like tangible things. I was having like ephemeral experiences basically. So I was in Tahoe the week before Comic-Con. That was nice, hanging out by the lake. Comic-Con, which was, well, that's the whole episode. It's like a convention's worth of conversation, if you will.
Yeah, you saw
episode, so
Bidoof.
love that. Yeah, then I went to Utah, which I just got back from, and that is why we're recording late, actually, because the timing didn't work out. And yeah, in Utah, I discovered that there is this creature, which I didn't know existed, called the marmot, as in the clothing brand, which I thought was a made-up word, but nope, it is a creature, and these creatures are basically real-life Bidoofs. They build these, like, not dams, but these, like, stick hut structures that they stay in when it's hot out, and they crawl around them, and they are on all fours. They can sit on their back legs like beavers, but they're kind of on all fours, and they are the color and shape and have the black nose of Bidoofs. And it was quite possibly the most amazing discovery I've made in the last few years is that Bidoofs are real, to a degree. They don't look as doofusy. Nothing will top the doofusness of Bidoof, but they were real-life Bidoofs. And once I saw one from afar, I was like, oh, I have to try and get to go one up close to get like a picture. So I full on went like full Pokemon trainer, full Todd Snap and Pokemon Snap, whatever you want to call it. And I took a bike out into a field and I parked it behind a tree. And then I waded through some tall grass very slowly to get close to get the photo, which is subpar. You can see it on my Twitter at JSR7. But yeah, no, I spent like 30 minutes like catching a Bidoof, quote unquote. And now I know what it's like to be the very best there ever was and be a Pokemon trainer. And it was great. That's what I've been up to. Short and sweet. But yeah, we should talk about Comic-Con because that was a big thing that all of us are up to. And was probably, among all my trips, that was certainly the longest trip and the most sensory overload of the trips. So that feels like a good place to start with the hotel, as you were saying, Kevin. Because, yeah, that was an interesting hotel.
Yeah, so we stayed at the 4 Points Sheridan, 4
Correct,
Points,
sir.
whatever.
4 Point Sheridan, downtown San Diego, because there are 2 or 3 of them in San Diego, so you need to specify.
This one was specifically the little.
No, this wasn't. This was just downtown. The Little Italy one was a different one, like 0.8 miles away, that looked not as strangely shaped.
Yeah. So this thing was just a round, like, cylinder. And first of all, let's talk about getting there. Getting there.
Oh man, are we going there? Are we doing this?
We
okay. We have to.
Now that I remember it, yeah, we got to talk about this. So the plan was, I am the last person getting picked up. I am getting picked up at my house at 12:30. So that didn't happen because I got called into a last second meeting at work, and so after that meeting, I hauled ass home. I think I got picked up at around 1:50.
Correct. Almost to the minute.
Somewhere,
yes.
Yeah. So, and I felt terrible.
By me.
I felt terrible. Yeah. I felt super bad because I had told my boss, hey, I want to get out of here by 12 so I can get home. My buddies are going to pick me up at 12:30, and we get to San Diego. It's from where we live. It's only about a 2-hour drive with no traffic. Some traffic here and there, but it's about a 2-hour drive.
Yeah, it's roughly 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get picked up at 1:50. I feel terrible. I delayed these guys by about an hour and some change, and I was feeling terrible.
And we're trying to reassure you it's not a big deal, to be clear. Like, we weren't like, you suck. I'm saying suck a lot this episode, but we weren't like, you're the worst kind, where it's like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, and thank you for that. But, like, I still felt really bad. Like, the entire time I was like, man, I can't believe. I was like, oh, that last second meeting was such a pain. But then I remembered, so what's the company behind Comic-Con? Is it just like Comic-Con International? Like
Con-Con, yeah, it's CCI, I believe, is the acronym for the company.
Yeah, so probably International or Inc., whatever.
Yeah, I think literally that, yeah.
Yeah. Comic-Con International ships you out your badges, so you don't necessarily have to go to the convention floor to pick up a badge. They ship them out to you, which is pretty convenient. So I remember having my badge and thinking, or I wasn't sure if they had shipped out lanyards to us because they just ship you out the little plastic holder and what do you want to call them? Tickets or
like the paper insert?
The paper insert. Yeah, the paper
and
insert.
And the RFID chip on it to scan. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I wasn't sure if it came with a lanyard or not, because I remember the first year that I went to Comic-Con, it came with a lanyard. So
It also came with a fancy pin and a fancy box, but they had to cut costs because of COVID. I mean, they had to cut costs because COVID so bad that there was no carpet on the show floor this year, and in past years they always had carpet. But anyway,
oh really? Oh
yeah, in past years they had. I forgot about it, but I saw someone point it out, and I was like, oh yeah, that's true. It was thin carpet, but it did help a little, and it wasn't.
Oh yeah, whenever we passed by a carpet area, it felt really nice. Anyways,
Square Enix, best carpet in the game.
Yeah. Anyways, so I bring out my badge and I ask these guys, "Hey, did they ship out a lanyard because I don't have one?" And immediately, Jason says, "Oh my God, I forgot my badge at home."
Yep. Now, to add a little, again, because my job this episode is Mr. Context, to add some context, I live about 20 miles from the two of you. I'm up in West LA a bit more, over by Century City, and I drove to Angels. We hung out waiting for you. So I was there for over an hour. The drive back and forth is 40 minutes with no traffic, or 30 minutes no traffic, up to an hour with traffic. So even if I remembered the badge sooner, I could have gone back and come back and still been there before you were ready. But no, I completely forgot. I don't know how. I rarely forget stuff like that. I was so mad at myself.
Yeah,
but yes.
I honestly still can't really believe that happened because it's Jason.
I mean, yeah,
I don't know if
understand
that's
it.
supposed
I'm
to
going to
be
chalk it up.
But
I think it was a compliment. That's how I'm choosing to interpret it. But,
yeah, let's go with that.
But yeah, let's go with that. No,
Yeah,
but I never forget stuff like that. But the week before I was on a trip and I didn't even pack a badge. The week after I'm on a trip, don't need to pack a badge. So I was just packing how I just packed a week prior because I'm not used to traveling anymore. Pandemic times, how you travel these days. So it didn't even cross my mind I need the badge. And I had it readily available in a drawer. I just didn't think of it. And then, yeah, when you said it, I was like, oh my God. So then we had to go back up to, where I live, 20 miles the wrong way. At that point, everyone's like, oh, we're kind of hungry too. So I dropped you guys off, get food, went to get the badge, came back, and we should have left at 12:30 and gotten to San Diego at 3. We left LA at 3 something and got to San Diego at 6 something.
We were stuck in LA for 45 minutes of the drive.
Yeah.
Maybe an hour.
Yeah.
Wait, we passed a 4 Points hotel 3 times?
Yeah, we passed one going down through Orange County. We passed one here in LA. We passed a number of them. And we kept making the same joke oh, there's our hotel. We're already here, except we really weren't there. And it was sad. But you would think that rough of a start for Con-Con, being that many hours late. Luckily, we have nothing we have to do that Wednesday night. Fortunately, we didn't have preview night. There were no ticketed things we had, so it wasn't the end of the world. But you'd think that chaotic of a start for Comic-Con would set a really frenzied tone for the whole week, everything's just gonna be. But I have to admit, that felt like one of the chillest, most laid back Comic-Cons I think we've gone to collectively. Even though going down was probably the most hectic, ridiculous, time sucks of a commute that we've had. But yeah, but you want to talk about the hotel though?
Oh yeah, so we get to the hotel, and check-in process is your check-in process. Then comes first of all, this hotel, you don't get a free parking. You have to pay for parking, even though you're staying at the hotel and you check in. You still have to pay for parking,
and that's sadly a common thing, but still strange. Yeah,
is that now just happening just at all times?
Oh,
now?
Lots of hotels do it all over the place. Yeah.
So let's say what's if somebody were to stay at the Marriott, would they be? Do you think that they would charge you for parking?
It depends on the situation. If they have a limited number of spots, yes. If they're a giant open parking lot in the middle of Iowa, maybe not. But New York hotels charge parking. The ones here in LA charge parking. A lot of them. It's not that uncommon.
Sure. Okay. Well, regardless, we had to pay for parking, and then we get to the parking, and there is no parking. There is no space to even turn a car. Jason miraculously found a spot that he could fit in, but we did circles in that parking lot. We did at least 3 rotations.
And when you say circles, it's literally circles. They're literally circles because the building and the lot are a circle. So it's not we're just circling. It's literally the shape of the building that we're going in.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't even that big of a circle, but it was just, we were flabbergasted by the lack of parking options. Turns out they had more parking. And We didn't figure
more
that
circles
out until...
on more levels. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, so
Although-
that was
although-
the hotel room.
A little history lesson real quick about that hotel. So you may be thinking out there, listener, again, what's with all my context today? You may be thinking out there, gee, I've seen a circular hotel, and you'd be correct, because those circle hotels that look like kind of corn on the cob, that was a Holiday Inn. I don't know why I know this. That was a Holiday Inn staple. So when Holiday Inn at some point, maybe in the 60s or 70s, was doing a lot of new buildings, all of them would be these corn on cob looking circles or these cylinders next to freeways. So there's actually one in LA that's the same shape and is still a Holiday Inn right off Sunset Boulevard by the Getty Museum on the 405. But yeah, that used to be kind of like their signature thing. So the reason we were in this weird circle, it was once upon a time a Holiday Inn that has since been remodeled, and probably whoever owns the hotel realigned with a different franchise with Sheraton, obviously. But yeah, that's why it was a circle. And I think they're all kind of cookie cutters. There are these weird tube hotels like all over the country, probably.
Yeah.
The more you know.
And yeah, but the location of the hotel, pretty freaking nice.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 20-minute walk and a 5-minute scooter ride.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. That's the most I've ever used Lime scooters. We used to stay, again, context, we used to stay in past Con-Cons in Hotel Circle South, which was a 20-minute bus ride away. And they had free shuttles, but still, you had to like really plan if you're going to bring stuff back, if you want to go change your clothes, if you're going out that night, whatever. This was just like, oh, we're just going to go to the hotel for a few minutes. It was amazing. It was like a game changer. It probably helped give some of the chill vibe of the show this year, just because we could just like go and come back, and it was not a big deal. It was really nice.
Yeah, so that was the hotel room. Now the actual convention. How did you guys... So this was my first Comic-Con where I didn't only have Sunday as the day, because I believe... When was it where they shut down? Was it 2020?
Oh, yeah. It was 2020.
2020. Yeah. So I didn't go to 2019, but I went to 2018, and I only had Sunday. And so even on Sunday was pretty packed. You guys have pretty much been going all 4 days for the last
decade.
Which
is insane to say out loud. Angel, we're getting old. Yeah, we've been going
Not
for
even
a decade. Yeah, no, even. Very even. But yeah, we've been going for a decade. I'm actually curious, Kevin, since it was your first full show, what did you think? And then we can contrast it with what we've experienced in the past.
So one of the big things that like hit me was the fact that I was actually able to move through the exhibit floor.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Elvis about this. I was telling him, this isn't so bad. And then he told me, yeah, it's usually way more packed than that.
Mm-hmm. That's accurate. I think, again, the whole like chill vibe that I was saying, like the kind of like laid back thing. Yeah, I would say because so Con-Con sold out going into 2020, and then instead of just canceling all the badges, they rolled them over for anyone who wanted them every time they canceled because of COVID. So for 2022, what they did is they had it sold out, but then anyone that needed to return, of which even in our group of 6, 2 people did, 2 out of 6, a third of our group did. So I imagine a lot of other people also return because 2 years going on 3 years is a lot can change in your life about whether you can go to a convention or not, or if you have other obligations. So that led to some people not going. I know there's still, because of the BA5 variant, some concerns there about, not wanting to go to what could be a super spreader. Fortunately, I don't think any of us got sick, but I do know that like a couple booths, I'm trying to remember which one, but one booth, the entire staff was out with COVID like 2 days after the show. So it was a bit of a gamble. But yeah, because of all those reasons, I would guesstimate, Angel, what would you say? I would guesstimate it was like maybe 15, 20% fewer people than usual. Just everywhere, in the gas lamp, in the convention, outside. Like, it did feel a little lighter, didn't it?
Yeah, 15% feels about right, because I would still say that, like, there were still plenty of places where it still felt as crowded as normal Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as spread out, obviously, but, like, there were certain rooms, there were certain areas that you walked through where you're like, oh, yeah, this is the Comic-Con crowd. This is, like, packed sardines until, you finally get into the open space and then everyone disperses.
Yeah. Mattel's
still,
was guilty of that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah. That's true, too. Like, depending on the booth, too. Like, some were, some are always packed. I feel like Sideshow is always that packed. Not that it's really packed, but, Sideshow is a company that makes high-end figures and statues, and it's a great place just to kind of chill and walk around and look at some really cool things that you feel like you're just never going to buy. But yeah, usually that place is a little more crowded. This time it was pretty good.
Feel it worked to our advantage. It definitely made because it was a little looser. Well, I think because it was a little less crowded and because a lot of the offsites and events and stuff started doing online booking for your free access. I felt like the lines weren't as bad for like anything. I mean, we walked in at the tail end of it was absurd. It was a Pac-Man celebration at this Comic-Con museum, and I feel like normally it had an open bar, free food, which they ran out by the time we got there, swag bags, a guy in a Pac-Man suit, officially sanctioned, dancing to Blow the Whistle and From the Window to the Wall and a bunch of other songs that are not brand appropriate for Mr. Pac-Man. But yeah, like it felt like something like that even wouldn't be something we could just waltz into in the last hour and they still have plenty of stuff at the bar. Like it'd either be full or they'd like close entry or they'd run out of alcohol, like little things like that.
To be fair, that Pac-Man party was way off the beaten path.
It was, but even then, like fandom, the fandom part, which we managed to secure. I don't know how I did this, but the fandom party is like supposedly the hottest ticket in town. It's Thursday night of Comic-Con, totally open premium bar, food. They had music. In past years, it was like Mark Ronson and Big Boy. This year it was a DJ named Don Diablo. Only like 100 tickets. 100 people got tickets. If you're quick enough on Eventbrite, somehow I got it for Kevin and myself. But either way, from what I heard after the fact, the standby line was being let in up until about like 20, 30 minutes before Angel, you and Elvis got there. So like that would be unheard of in past years. So, like the Dragon Ball Z, we did this awesome, which I'm sure we'll talk about, concert at the new Shell concert venue they have out on the water in San Diego. It's this big outdoor kind of Hollywood Bowl looking thing. It never hit capacity. I feel like at other Comic Cons it would have hit capacity. It was close to capacity, I'm sure, but there was rarely, when I went to the Severance panel, I didn't think I'd get in because I only showed up a panel beforehand, and the line was like, out the door. Went in with plenty of room to spare. Like everything was just a little easier to deal with, which was great.
I think with the exception, there was something that I wanted that sold out, but it was also something I didn't really care about.
I didn't get my Mario Kart.
That was also kind of just. But that was also kind of the. Oh, that's right. It was you and your Mario Kart. Mm-hmm. But that was also just like besides that, which even then, like I feel like if Jason really wanted to, he definitely could have gotten it if he.
If I got
sure he was in line like by 8 or something.
Yeah.
But the point is, like, I think last Comic-Con was the first year that we were kind of indifferent on the Ninja Turtles exclusive from NECA. NECA usually being one of the most sought after booths, usually for exclusives. Like, this stuff usually sells out by the time you enter the hall, if you're just entering it normally. This year, I think only like 2 things sold out, and there was some things that I don't know. I think my brother and I could care less about. But the Ninja Turtle thing, they had this cool figure from The Thing, some stuff from Gremlins, like nothing. Like basically, they had everything on sale, like everything. Like, and there was also a couple other places. Like I think the only thing that sold out right away that Elvis was happy to get was like a Chun-Li shirt from Udon that said San Diego 2022. Other than that, like you were pretty much able to get anything you wanted.
Well, that and the pink, gold, peach Mario Kart Hot Wheel. I tried multiple.
Yeah, which is another one of those, like, I feel like on any other day, Jason would probably not even care to buy that.
Oh, 100%. But I think first of all,
but actually, probably even Comic-Con. It might have just been more like I just feel like I want to buy something.
No, it was a Comic-Con exclusive. That's why. And I have the Silver Mario Kart Hot Wheel Comic-Con exclusive. So I was like, oh, they kind of match, except they don't because the packaging's different, which was a weird move. But no, I went by it. I mean, the fact that they made, I tweeted some of this effect, but the fact that they made a Hot Wheel of the character that everyone loves to riff on and make fun of, like, oh, Pink Gold Peach, like, well, a dumb character Nintendo made, like, why not put, like, a real character, all that, and then it still was one of the first exclusives to sell out at Mattel every single day. We're weird, the Nintendo fandom, and I'm part of that weirdness for sure.
It's only $20.
I think that's what it was. So Mattel has...
I can see a lot of people just throwing just throw it in here.
Especially when they start sticking the limited quantity sticker on, like, because they only have an allotment for however many per day. So the second that yellow sticker went on the sign, it's like we're running low. everyone's like, I'll just get it and flip it. No big deal. Like, I watched every single person bought it, and I guarantee 8 out of those, 80% of those people were not pink, gold, peach fans. So,
wouldn't you say 90% of those people, maybe more?
Yeah, no, I'll give a few
I don't
of
like
them.
pink gold teeth.
Yeah, true.
No,
or
no
even
one
Nintendo fans.
Yeah, no one likes pink gold teeth.
Yeah. And yet that's the one they made, and that's what sold out. But to be fair, I also should clarify, there was stuff that had lines. There was stuff you couldn't just walk up to. I mean, there's a cool, supposedly, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon experience where you go through these multiple things. You end up in the throne room. You get set on the throne. You get hatch a dragon from an egg, and they have this AR thing you do. That line was capped. What?
At the end, you get disappointed. The full
exactly.
Game of Thrones
and at the end, they're just like, okay. And you're just like, wait, that's how it ends? But yeah, there was like an 8 hour, the line was capped at like 8 in the morning, multiple days for it. Like you had no chance if you were in line by 8 a.m. The Gray Man, the Netflix show, had like this little 3-minute long thing you run through.
The Gray Man?
Yes, the Gray Man. The thing, every time I say it, you don't understand what I'm talking about. It's the same thing every time, Angel. It hasn't changed. But yeah, it was like a 3-minute experience, but the line was like 3-4 hours long for it. So there was still... Severance actually is a really good example of this. You could book online Disneyland style at like 6 a.m. on an Apple TV website to do this really cool Severance experience where they literally brought in, like, from what Ben Stiller was saying at the Severance panel I was at, it was like 80 to 90% of the props that were in the show and the sets that were in the show were shipped down to San Diego and set up for you to do this experience. So you're walking through the actual sets. You're using the computers they use on the show. You're like, it's all the white hallways are all the white hallways, like if you know the show. And it was a really cool experience, and it had a bunch of cool actors. But even that, like the standby line I read, let 2 people in one day. Everyone else was booked at 6 a.m. through a website. So it's not like it was easy to do stuff, but it was easier than probably any other Con-Con in recent memory, which was kind of a nice way to sort of ease back in to the con life, if you will.
Yeah. Plus, it would also be terrible to omit the giant Lego Bowser, which was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we have stuff we could talk about. I mean, what was your? Yeah, let's talk about the Lego Bowser.
I mean, that's I gotta at least mention that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like everyone, if you follow Nintendo, you know by now that their next major Lego set is gonna be like the giant Bowser, which is pretty awesome. Like
Mighty King Bowser.
I never even considered putting that on a wish list kind of deal because I just figured there would be something like they're just never gonna do it. Like it didn't even cross my mind as like an option of something Lego would do, and sure enough, that's what they did. So it's like best case scenario. I think the next thing I would want would be like a Lego full size version of like Bowser's Castle or Peach's Castle, but the Bowser's awesome. It's also a marionette, which is kind of crazy because Nintendo just has to. Nintendo and Lego just kind of have to like keep one-upping themselves in these Lego sets. Like the NES that Jason has is super awesome, and the Cube,
I love that NES so much.
Now this one,
yeah.
And they one-upped
themselves. As I said, they one-upped themselves even further at the show with that one. But you were going to say something else first, yeah.
But I mean, they had it at the show floor, and you were able to like look at it up close, take pictures of it, and it's a pretty good size, and it looks great in person. But yeah, like we said, they have a super mega giant one. It's like 14 feet tall, like over 600,000 Lego pieces.
660,000 to be precise. Yep.
And it moves. Like you make line, and then for like 7 seconds, you'll hear like some Bowser's Castle NES music, and you could do whatever you want. You could run, you could act scared. I did a little thing with my brother and a friend where we ran for a little bit, but then I turned around and saw Bowser, and then I just like bowed down to him. And yeah.
What have you got that
I would just like to point out, I just want to get this on record. I suggested to Angel, but I don't even think, Kevin, you were there. I suggested to Angel, hey, we should do like a random Nintendo one with Bowser, because,
No, I was there.
And, you were there. And Angel's like, nah, I'm okay. And then 20 minutes later does it with 2 other people. I see how it is, Angel. I see how it is.
That is not exactly how that happened. It was more
it's
like
close enough that
you said we should. You said we should, and then I was like,
force you.
Yeah, I'm down if like the timing works out.
What does
and
that
that's
mean?
like kind of what
What's the timing? What timing? Why do I sound like an old New Yorker? What time? What is this timing?
Because as you all can see from this last Comic-Con, pairings change all the time, and people feel like doing things at certain times, and we were never like all hanging out together the entire time. Like,
yeah, but we could have made
sometimes
an
it was just my
appointment.
brother and I. Sometimes it was just this.
We could have scheduled a time, but no, yeah, the Bowser itself.
Scheduling, but scheduling a time, like I feel like everything happened. I mean, I wanted to do that with my Bowser shirt, so I did take it on Sunday in case we were all three of us together that Sunday day. But yeah, it just worked out. Because also the line for the Bowser thing it's not the longest thing ever, but it is long enough that
25 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, it's like just long enough that it's like I don't want to do it multiple times. I mean, I still would have if the timing worked out. But yeah, like, and it not to mention that it's always like it was always just kind of blocked. Like you had to. The line was closed most of the time, so you had to kind of wait for it to open.
You literally
because they
just
don't
say,
wanna...
"Hey, is the line open?" They say, "Stand here for 30 seconds, and then we'll tell you," and then they let you in. It's that easy. At least for me, it was.
There you go.
But no, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just giving you a hard time. But yeah, the Bowser itself was very cool.
Oh, well, I don't feel bad about it, but I mean, but either way,
I guess.
I mean, I'm
glad you're guilty conscious, but yeah, no, the Bowser itself was super cool.
I mean, if it had worked out, that would have been cool, but it didn't work out.
Yeah,
which is a bummer.
Yeah. Mm.
Hey,
well, you know what we could do?
Angel, maybe we could catch it
do.
somewhere else.
Here's what we could do. Yes,
tour,
it's
right?
touring the world. Next stop, Sweden, for some Lego event in Sweden. So if you guys want to go to Sweden, we can make it happen.
I'm down. I'm not doing anything.
Okay. I think it's in October, so we have a couple weeks to figure it out.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's they have to dismantle the thing into like a bunch of different parts. But yeah, they will go off to Sweden. But Lego Bowser wasn't the only Nintendo thing on the show floor. They also had a Lego Toad, a red Lego Yoshi, a Lego Mario, and a Lego Luigi, both which with animated eyes and chest screens like the toys themselves. It was and they were scattered around. There were some at Nintendo, some at Lego. But yeah, it was a very Lego-centric Nintendo show floor, if you will. Like, they had games off-site, but, like, on the show floor, Nintendo was really pushing Lego Super Mario, which I guess makes sense because a new set just dropped, like, this past weekend. Or a new wave of them, I should say. But, yeah, that was if you were inside, the only Nintendo things you saw were these Lego things. And Lego Bowser was a hit. I heard so many people mentioning it just walking around. I think, like, that and... There's an animatronic $100,000 lifelike Grogu, like Baby Yoda. That was also, I heard a lot of people talk about just walking around. But Lego Bowser might have been the thing on the floor because it was one of the few like photo ops on the floor that was actually like really elaborate, which is kind of the other side of the coin of a quieter Comic-Con after COVID or in the midst of COVID or however you want to frame that, which is there's a lot to do. There are a lot of cool experiences, but I feel like and Angel, this is something maybe you can more share your thoughts on the Con because Con's only been once before, but I feel like there was less stuff to a degree this year. Like some companies scaled back, some pulled out, some others sort of took the spot. Like Apple TV with Severance was never there before, but like Warner Brothers
there was definitely less,
for example.
Yeah, there definitely was less stuff, but I think I remember how I worded it or when we were talking, but. Even though there was less stuff, I feel like we still did the same amount of things we normally would do.
Yeah.
I guess the main difference was that we were always giving up one thing for something else. There was always like it was either this or that or something like that.
The evenings were a little quieter because in past years there were like Amazon would take over and do multiple like parties in the evening. Like
I definitely missed Adult
yeah.
Swim on the Green, just watching like some. Pilots or random stuff.
Yeah, or doing the Rick and Morty panel where they do a live like sketch, like they do a live improv of an episode and they sketch out the frames, like stuff like that. So some of that was missing. Done. I think the other thing that was kind of interesting that was missing was, and it was still there to some degree. We just maybe weren't in the right place at the right time. But there used to be a lot more just like. I was saying at the start, like frenzy to the saw. Like there's more like chaos, if you will. Like you'd be walking around the gas lamp, which for those who don't know is right across the street from the convention center. A lot of stuff spills out into it, and there'd be like a marching band promoting sci-fi, just walking around playing video game tunes and like sci-fi show tunes. Or there'd be like just people handing out weird random things, and there was a little of that. There was a Bob Burger like food truck pop-up thing. There was I learned after fact Pistachios was giving out pound bags of pistachios that had Groot on them for some reason. Yeah, apparently. So there were little things like that, but just like the sheer like marketing overload that's usually in the gas lamp, that like the random elements, that felt a little less there. Marvel did something kind of fun where one day they had people handing out flyers to call She-Hulk attorney at law, and you get a voicemail where they're explaining like what their law services offer if you had an encounter with an Asgardian or whatever. Like that was kind of fun, but like a lot of it was that element, that kind of you never know what you're going to stumble into. There's a little less of that, and that might have been why it felt a little calmer because you didn't have just like there wasn't a Panda Express taking over a random retail space to give out free chicken, which was something they did in 2019, which we definitely abused. So there are like little
there used to
missing
be
pieces
alarm
like
or random free food for sure, but this was also the first Comic-Con where I feel like, I mean, and many more talking for my brother and I, because I'm guessing it was maybe the same for you guys too, but this is probably one of the first Comic-Cons where I feel like I had like full meals at regular intervals.
Yes, we ate
instead
like
of like, it's like maybe because it was just that chill. Like we were
I think that was it. There wasn't a
go to some of the show floor. Like, hey, let's just go eat. Actually, go to a sit down restaurant. Actually, order some nice food. Like, I don't think I ever like was starving. I was like, oh my god, I need to do this first. Like no, it's like we food ended up being like an actual priority. For lack of a better term.
To your point, even when you're like, oh, we're on the show floor, and they're like, let's go eat. Like the show floor, and this again, I think it's just the evolving nature of Con, somewhat due to COVID, maybe without, but a lot of the big booths that were there, Disney Plus was there, Netflix was there, a bunch of big companies were there. They weren't doing as much like experiences or like booths where you interact with something. It's a lot more just like merchandise and sales. So like Disney Plus was
make your own Yu-Gi-Oh card thing still there?
That was still there. That's always there. There are a few things like that, but like Weta, for example, they'd always have these cool statues of the stuff they digitally create for Lord of the Rings and the like. They didn't have a booth, so no one was looking at that. WB, they'd have a bunch of signings and stuff, and same with DC, their booths weren't there. So a lot of what was there was just like, if you want to buy stuff, cool, here's an opportunity. If you want a little photo op in the back of the Disney Plus booth of like pretending you're on the Miss Marvel poster, that's there. But for the most part, it was like if you're there and you're a company, you're selling something, and if you're not interested in buying that something, you have more time to eat, to go walk around, to stand in line for the Dragon Ball Z show concert thing, whatever. It made everything just a little less tense, like a little less like boom, boom, boom.
Is a photo op to you not an experience?
No, it is, but I'm saying in general there were fewer. Like in the past, it would be like, like Netflix, for example. Their booth was almost entirely just merch. There may be in the past, like it would be something more like the Paramount Plus booth, where Paramount Plus, they have you walk into an infinity room where they project their shows on the walls, which was kind of cool, and then they have you play pachinko for a prize. So there'd be more booths that were like things like that. Like Cartoon Network used to have a booth where like they do like, what's it called? We Bear Bears or whatever. They'd have like a thing where you like go inside and interact with like the bears, or there'd be like some other thing. For like Adult Swim would have like a giant like cat slingshot. Like there'd be all these different things that you like stand in line to do versus just to buy. And those kind of scaled back. So at most they were giving us maybe occasional photo ops.
And me coming in as the outsider, I feel like there's like tons of photo ops.
There's don't get me wrong, there's tons to do. It's just compared to what it was, it does feel like kind of like the 20% less capacity vibe. That's kind of how it felt.
Jason just said that it was garbage and that you can never understand.
No. I think it was so
it puts things into perspective for me, because I thought that there was like, as far as like photo ops and like maybe full experiences, like you said, there were too many. There wasn't a ton of them, but I thought that there was like a lot of photo ops. So the fact that was only
some of it,
like some of it, that's mind-boggling to me.
And some swapped in for others. Like Nintendo's booth on the show floor was just a photo op this year, but used to be just game demos. So like they, things shuffle.
Didn't they have a couple of games right behind them? Behind the counter?
No, they had Lego sets.
No, that was Pac-Man World.
Yeah, Pac-Man.
Oh, that's right.
Namco had some. Yeah,
repack.
And that was the thing, is there's actually a decent amount of like gaming at like it wasn't the focus of the show, but there's definitely the Lego Bowser is obviously huge in terms of attention.
They had Street Fighter 6 on the floor.
That was the first public playable Street Fighter
cool.
6. Ninja Turtles. They had a gaming lounge for Ninja Turtles for the Konami one. Pac-Man had his own booth with Pac-Man World Repack demoable. I'm excited to share full impressions of that when the full game comes out later this month, because I'm very excited for that, because I love Pac-Man World too. But anyway, my point is like there was actually a fair amount
of Smash Bros tourney on the floor and
and upstairs. Yeah, there was, when we went to the fandom party, Kevin and I, there was Master Chief walking the red carpet because the Halo show was one of the sponsors of it. Like, there's a lot of like just it wasn't like, oh, video games. There's just a lot of like gaming just sort of seeped into different aspects of the show this year, which was kind of nice. Also, there's a lot of Dragon Ball. Like a lot like,
of
there
Dragon
were like
Ball.
4
Lot of Dragon
separate
Ball.
places with 4 separate full-size character statues, like sets of statues. Like there's outside, there's inside. Like if you're a Dragon Ball fan, this was
outsiders,
the show.
Insiders.
Yeah, everyone. Dragon Ball for everyone.
I know they had Tamashii Nations, which is, I guess, Namco Bandai. Namco Bandai had a bunch of Dragon Ball stuff out there, like statues. Plus, they were also selling like Comic-Con exclusive figures. Then there was an entire activation for Dragon Ball's superhero, the movie that's coming out. And then I think Viz Media had a couple of Dragon Ball statues also around there. Then
all different characters, by the way. These are all separate,
different characters.
Like you could go catch them all, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Then outside there was that activation, that Dragon Ball activation that had a bunch of really cool photo ops. Oh,
yeah,
totally forgot about the Dragon Ball Z Dead by Daylight ish game, Dragon Ball The Breakers, which that also had a photo op. Then there was another photo op where you can stand in front of like one of those like mushroom houses from Dragon Ball, and on top of that, or last but not least, definitely not least, was the Dragon Ball concert that we went to.
Yeah, that was. I sort of alluded already. It was at this great, legit like symphony orchestra venue on the water outside. But yeah, you guys watch more Dragon Ball than me. Maybe you should talk about the show itself.
Probably watched in the middle, but I mean, all I really wanted to say is just that I can't believe that this concert was here in its like full glory
and free.
I think I don't know if I mentioned on here, but at one point I had tickets, not cheap tickets either, to watch this concert at the Microsoft Theater, and it was supposed to be, I think, in March or May. I think it was supposed to be in May. So I would have watched it already, but at some point it got delayed to next year, like some point in January. And I was like, that's such a long time from now. I don't even know if I'm going to be free. So I just canceled my ticket and I got a refund. And then, we go to this concert and it's like amazing. And because it's outdoors, you got your fireworks, you got your projections, and
yeah, we should back that up. We need to explain that in more detail.
Well, yeah, you'll be able to. I mean, you'll be able to, Mr. Context, but basically, but yeah, long story short, it was just cool because like I was gonna go to that concert with a bunch of coworkers, so I was able to show them pictures, and they were able to go like, "Oh, I hate you." And,
yeah, you got we got the better version of what you're gonna see because you're gonna see it indoors at the Microsoft Theater. This was, like you said, it ended with fireworks, like full on, like launching off the back of the venue. But also they did this really cool thing where it's a bowl, right? Like a Hollywood bowl type of thing. So it has lighting you can do down the sides of it, but they also had a a projector set up so they could do animations and stuff on the rim of the bowl, like on the front like ring of the bowl. So when stuff was going on when they were playing songs that were like action scenes, they'd have like the action lines from every anime ever kind of shooting.
Jason, what is that called? I mean, you
what
have
is
to know that,
called?
right? Like
what is that called?
No, when the hero turns yellow,
oh no, I'm not talking about when he goes Super Saiyan. I meant the action lines. The Super Saiyan was a whole like energy ball that popped out. And yes, I definitely know. I know the term, Angel, because that was my caption on my Instagram of it. So yeah, I know the term. but what was I gonna say? But yeah, and then they had like the dragon wrapped around the bowl. They did this all this really cool stuff that really just upped the presentation value. Like I don't know anything about Dragon Ball outside of the phrase Super Saiyan, and that it takes 7 episodes to do one thing in that show. Like One Punch takes 7 episodes.
So I can speak to the content. Jason can speak to the production because I think that's what blew you away the most, right?
On a scale of 1 to 10 Kanye's, how many?
That's tough. On a scale, I would actually say, of concert production, Kanye and Cole. I would say this reminded me more of Coldplay playing the Hollywood Bowl in terms of how they use the effects than Kanye doing a concert. Although Kanye did the Hollywood. Actually, Kanye played the Hollywood Bowl. I would say the production on this was probably better than Kanye's production at the Hollywood Bowl, but not as good as Coldplay's. So somewhere in between. No one appreciates that scale except me, I realize, but
I'm sure someone went to both those concerts. But you were saying about the content?
Yeah, Kevin, talk about the content.
Kevin?
Yeah, so the actual content. So they had I'm going to assume the San Diego Symphony.
Correct.
Of the night?
Sure.
Yes, yes. There's a legion of Castlevania fans that came out and performed. Yeah, no, it was the San Diego Symphony led by Nick. Braun, something like that, as the conductor.
Led by Nick.
Good old Nick. Yeah.
Good old Nick. So, what Crunchyroll was the not the sponsor. What would you call him? Not the sponsor.
The host. The
host.
They were the sponsor. They put the whole thing
producer,
on. Organizer.
Organizer. Yeah, I guess the organizer.
Yeah.
The promoter. There we go. They're the promoter. They're the Live Nation for this.
There we go.
Golden Voice, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
If you work in the entertainment industry, you would know. But basically, Crunchyroll was a promoter for this event, and they had their hosts out, and they said, "This is only like not necessarily a taste, but like they're like, this is not the full show." So immediately I thought like, oh, we're gonna get like this 45-minute thing, whatever. It's still gonna be cool. They start by playing the Dragon Ball theme, not Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, Mystical Adventure, which was really cool. The orchestra was performing it, and on top of that, they had a singer out there to actually sing the Japanese lyrics to it. Immediately following that, they went into Chala Hechala, which is the Dragon Ball Z theme, which was very cool to see. Which they also played at the end like twice, like an extra
as
2
a
times.
sing-along, no less.
As a sing-along, yeah.
And to be clear, when you said they had a guy out singing, it's the dude that sings the Dragon Ball Z theme. It was him.
No, it's not him. It wasn't him.
Oh, it's not? I thought it was.
It was not him. No. It was.
I
guess it literally was a guy that sings the Dragon Ball
I'm not
theme.
technically wrong. It's a guy that did sing it. But
no, I'm going to assume that at the actual shows, they are probably going to have him because they were also showing footage of this concert from various other various other venues, and in those you can see him see him singing Chala Hechala, the original singer. That dude was definitely not the original singer, but he was still a very good singer.
I thought it was the original guy. Wow, I feel so ripped off from
it wasn't him. I know on the billboards, not on the billboards, like on the screens that they were showing that he was like the guest of honor, but that was not him. Not at all. His voice was nowhere close to the huskiness of the original singer. Anyways, so after that, they started playing scenes from all of the Dragon Ball Z arcs. So it started with, if you know Dragon Ball Z, you know how it starts. It's Goku's brother Raditz comes down, him and Piccolo fight. Immediately after that, Vegeta and Nappa come and terrorize the world. Pretty much, yeah, they went through every single arc of the show, and during like the very important scenes is when they would project like Shenron. Whenever they would summon Shenron, the rim of the bowl would be projected with Shenron. When Goku goes Super Saiyan against Frieza, not only would they actually play the sound of the energy that, the aura that comes off of a Saiyan when they're Super Saiyan, but then the rim of the orchestra would glow yellow. There was a couple of other things. Oh yeah, every single time that Goku would do a Spirit Bomb, the rim would shine like a blue white light, which was really, really cool. It's funny, they did skip a couple of things that, as a Dragon Ball Z fan, I would have loved to see. Gohan is my favorite character, and they completely skipped scenes of Gohan training to become Mystic Gohan, which was very disappointing. But yeah, they went through the entire series all the way up to the very last episode of Dragon Ball Z, which I thought was very, very interesting. I'm going to guess that the full show includes Dragon Ball music, because at the very end, after Dragon Ball Z was all said and done, they showed one clip of Dragon Ball. So, not only that, but this was also like an hour and a half worth of content, right?
It was a full 90-minute show. I was amazed. Yeah, I thought we'd be out there within 45 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, and no, it was about an hour and a half worth of music and classic scenes from this very, very beloved show. And so that's what I'm guessing that the full show is, because the full show is the Dragon Ball concert experience, not necessarily the Dragon Ball Z concert experience.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and guess that you would get way more Dragon Ball music in the full show, the one that you would have gone to see at the Microsoft Theater Angel. I'm not as fond as Dragon Ball as I am as Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball is still a very, very fun anime that you should watch. And all in all, Jason, who has never seen Dragon Ball Z,
I mean, I've seen like an episode here and there.
Sure.
And I watched that one movie with you guys from a couple of years ago.
Sure.
I don't remember the name. But it really flexes my.
Yeah, but Jason basically got the Reader's Digest of like 300 episodes.
About all Cliff Notes should come with Pyro. Is basically my takeaway. If you have to summarize anything, like if you're in high school and you need a spark note of Catcher in the Rye, I think better end with fireworks because that's what this did. So.
And did your opinion at all shift in any direction towards Dragon Ball? Like, were you like, these characters and stuff just look even sillier than I thought. I like it less.
No,
or you're like, this looks decent. I think I fancy it a little more. Or you're just like, it literally did nothing for you, and you're just like, I still feel exactly the same.
I had an appreciation for those who are fans and why they're fans and what that meant to them as fans. Because I was sitting there thinking, like, if this Comic-Con, if they swapped every one of the 17 different Dragon Ball booths and this concert for like a Pokemon thing or like a Nintendo, I would be losing my mind. It would have been the most amazing Comic-Con ever. And I took kind of like, I was like, this is really cool because like for someone who is the big Dragon Ball fan, this weekend is that for them. This is, you know, if it was Pokemon for me, like this is that week. This is the most amazing Comic-Con they could possibly have. Like this is fan service at its fullest. And I was able to really appreciate that.
When Elvis saw Crush 40 live.
Yeah, yeah, like something like that. Like and that's what's really cool about Comic-Con.
Crush 40.
But that's what's really cool about Comic-Con is like, and even this year, even with the kind of a bit scaled back in terms of the breadth of stuff, there's so much there that caters to so many different sort of like subcultures of nerddom, if you will, and subcultures of pop culture that like you're going to find something that's either the coolest thing to you or something that you can still enjoy and see how it's so cool for someone else. And that's what's always so fun about it to me is like this year was definitely lighter. There's no Conan O'Brien this year. I loved when Conan's been there every year almost since we've been going. He doesn't have a show anymore, so he wasn't there this year. So that was like a big open, like like a big gap in my Comic-Con. But for every Conan I had, like this Dragon Ball thing was like that times 10. And it was really cool to sit there and like see that much care and effort and little things like you were saying, kind of with how they like spliced in the sound effects and had the orchestra actually pause. Like all that was really cool to just appreciate from afar in a way, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know if it necessarily changed my show. It made me appreciate why people liked the show and the music was, you know, well done and everything. And I can see I like Headshot is like such a catchy song, but yeah, I don't know if it's gonna make me watch the show, but I definitely saw value in what was happening. Yeah, absolutely.
So now you basically won't feel ashamed when you see like any one of our friends like referencing Dragon Ball.
I don't think I ever felt shame. I think you're assuming a lot of things about me. I don't think I ever.
As soon as our friend Gilbert would mention like Dragon Ball, you would just go.
What you think? You think like I hear someone say like, "Oh, Goku," and I'm like, "No," and like run away? No, like what? It's fine. Everyone has like I can't talk.
Or 10 seconds into a Dragon Ball discussion, you'll be remember Mario, and then you'll try to change it to Mario.
That might be true, but no, I can't talk. I mean, I literally last night went to a sushi place here that had a Pokemon roll. Nothing about it has anything to do with Pokemon, but it was called a Pokemon roll, and I had to order it. And I was like, with my girlfriend's family, and they're like, yeah, of course you do. That's just you. Like, I can't fan shame anyone about their stuff when I'm ordering sushi named after Pokemon just because it's named after Pokemon. Like, everyone has their lane, everyone has their thing, and it's just really cool that like Dragon Ball and Crunchyroll delivered for those guys in that lane in such a big, impressive, dramatic, like over the top way. Like it was really well done.
Well, then speaking of lane, did you already say what Nintendo did in that one, Petco Park?
Yeah, I did want to touch on that actually. Nice,
because usually like they're at the Marriott, and the only reason my brother and I were even in that area was because that's where Ninja Turtles, or I should say Konami, they rented out the esports gaming lounge and just had a bunch of Cowabunga collections set up. There was some other games there, and they had tournaments throughout. we could win some goodies. And there was also a signing there with the creator, which, of course, all of a sudden I did. Got some stuff signed. Not as personal as we would like. You could tell that we're just hurrying people along. So
well, there were 500 of you, right?
Yeah. So we'll have to get them a different time. But
you can't always have a beer with the guy. I know you've done that before, but you can't do it every year. So.
But, Nintendo is usually, upstairs in this other ballroom. And, I would say it's gotten lamer over the years, and it used to be really, really cool. But, they had a presence. It was nice to see some...
They had a whole room.
...current games. But this year, they didn't do that. They did something else that I didn't even go to, so...
Yeah, so they, in terms of, official on-the-floor stuff, it was all just the LEGO stuff, like we were talking about. But in terms of the video games of Nintendo, that was all isolated to the Switch Road Trip portable truck booth thing that they're touring around the country. They set that up outside in the nearby Petco Park Interactive Zone, or as it's more commonly called, a parking lot. And as an experience, say what you will about the fact that it wasn't in a ballroom, it didn't have upcoming games, but just as an experience of going through and playing games, it was maybe one of the most pleasant ways to demo video games that I've done. Basically how it worked is that they opened up these time slots the night before on the My Nintendo site, and you could claim a so-called Warp Pipe Pass for a designated window the next day. They did...
so it's like E3? Because they do
a little,
passes but at E3 for Smash Brothers.
So but this Warp Pipe... Yeah, and that's true. They were there, and this is just kind of the next step of it. So they had these passes. They did have a standby line, I should say, but as I witnessed while I was waiting to get in with my Warp Pipe, they blew through those open slots extremely quickly. I mean, in the span of 5 minutes I was standing there, they went from having 1 o'clock slots to 5 o'clock slots to no slots. So, but yeah, really, Warp Pipe's the way to go, just like E3. But once you were in, and this is where it kind of differs from E3, it felt kind of more like a curated experience of sorts. You're part of a group of 4 people that went from game to game as a collective, and you had either a designated Nintendo rep with you the whole time to explain each game and what to do, or you had these reps handing you off one to the other as you went from game to game across a few reps. Ultimately, I think this was a move to stay COVID safe. The reps wiped off the controllers after each group. The grouping itself meant that there's no crowding around machines, so better social distancing. All the reps were wearing masks. But really, it just felt so again, to Con-Con as a whole, it felt so just laid back, and it's just very pleasant. There wasn't that normal feeling of having people breathing down your neck while you played. There were no crowds in the demo area at all, which was great. And even though this unfolded flatbed truck turn booth thing was open walled and outside, they had a ton of air circulation. They had fans at every station. They had hand sanitizer everywhere. And again, for a flatbed turned unfoldable room, I don't know what to call this thing. It's like a truck that unfolds into a full room. But whatever it is, they had decor, they had decorations that all fit each game. They had little photo ops with a cutout Bowser as a Mario Strikers goalie, or a little Kirby statue. They had this silly Warp Pipe you could stand in front of a Super Nintendo World Universal Studios backdrop. They had all these different little things. And it all just flowed. It wasn't the most mind-blowing. It wasn't as elaborate as E3. But from start to finish, you were just in this little Nintendo experience for about 30 minutes. It was having kind of this personal tour of these Switch games. Which, after being used to standing in so many lines for so many years at every other Nintendo event, it was just so nice and so chill to just have your hand held, do a personal booth tour, essentially. And of course, at the end, you got a little swag bag. There's a Kirby and Forgotten Land drawstring bag inside, which was a paper booklet of Switch themed activities such as connect the dots and filling in mazes and coloring in Animal Crossing characters. Yeah, I'm 33 years old. But also there's a Jack specific Mario figurine, which in retrospect, I'm kind of shocked Nintendo's never leaned on using existing Mario merch for swag in at past events. But I got a cool little blue Yoshi, and he's sitting on my desk now, so that was nice. But so the whole process of playing the game, the going through it, and I think I really just popped my pee there, so sorry to those listening. But the process of going through it was really nice. The yeah. But perhaps
I thought you meant you were holding it in when you were at the Nintendo booth.
No. Or I was so yeah.
It's also, I need to go to the restroom, but I can't stop demoing these games.
No. But it was all very and honestly, I don't even know if I could go to the bathroom.
You would though.
It was all guided through, so I couldn't tell the rep I'm going to step out halfway. It's no, you're only doing half of the 30-minute experience. The less exciting part of it were the games that were shown. So to kind of your question, Angel, what was out there? So they were all already released games. We had Mario Strikers Battle League, Switch Sports, and Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Plus, there's a sole Mario Kart 8 Deluxe station on the outside of the truck that you could just like walk up to and do some racing. The easy explanation is, of course, again, COVID. Like, Nintendo's not partaking in a lot of events, so why make their developers, dedicate precious time and resources to make these custom slices of games that aren't out yet when they could just use what they've already got? Like, it's done and ready, might as well. But I do think, in general, there was a bit more of a marketing strategy here than just we don't want to waste our developers' time. And I think that this actually kind of dovetails nicely into another thing I want to bring up this episode, which is what we've been seeing dominate Nintendo news cycle these past however many weeks. All the drip feed of Twitter announcement we've been waking up to. We talked a little bit about them in the first Randomer Nintendo, but also it's continued. Obviously, there's still new games coming. Xenoblade just came out. Splatoon is in September. But August is kind of empty, minus maybe Kirby's Dream Buffet getting a surprise release. I'm not sure where that's landing. And looking at what Nintendo did at Comic-Con and kind of just looking at everything else, I feel like it's sort of intentional. Because Nintendo is one of those... I mean, obviously it's intentional which games they pick, but I mean how they're doing this. Like, it's one of those... Nintendo's one of those few companies that outside of like a live service type game, and rare exceptions like maybe Elden Ring, they're one of the few who can release a game and straight up just like milk it. Like, they could just keep pushing it and marketing it and keep selling it, no problem. Like, so many big games, again, not of the live service variety, just big releases. They have a huge marketing push up front. They sell well for a month or two. They kind of taper off. Maybe DLC down the road gives them a boost. I know that happened with Monster Hunter Rise when the Sunbreak DLC came out. I think it jumped like 20 some odd spots on the NPD chart that next month. But at the same time, like, Kirby's been sitting on NPD's top 10 since March, like since it came out. That's 4 straight months. Like, Switch Sports, that's stayed in the top 10 since April. That's 3 months. Mario Kart, I don't even need to tell you, it's somehow ranked higher in June than Kirby and Switch Sports, and it's been out forever. Even Mario Strikers Battle League, like, that was, I think, like number 3 or something in June, so we'll see how that holds in July and beyond. But the one thing all of these games have in common, all 4 of them, is that they were games highlighted at Comic-Con as part of the Switch road trip, and games that just in these last few weeks have been getting, or coming up this week, have been getting big content updates. So, kind of looking at it, I can't help but think about the intentionality behind the kind of 1-2 punch here. Because, like, for early adopters like us, maybe if we even, lapse in our playing of these games early on, like, the content boost gets us back in, at least temporarily. And that means a stronger online player base for the late adopters who maybe tried a demo at Comic-Con or saw a Switch Sports commercial, which are still running, by the way. I saw one 2 days ago along with an ad for Kirby. It's like they're still pumping these games up like they're new releases. And obviously that's not a perfect overlap of audiences by any means. But clearly, like, Nintendo sees an opportunity to give these games further momentum. And they're doing that. And it was very interesting to see that Comic-Con, a show where they traditionally look forward to upcoming games, that they're instead, this year, they kind of pivoted specifically towards games that want to keep the momentum going for that are already out. So the question becomes, I guess, is it working? Like, on us? Like, are we doubling back to older releases? Can it keep the diehards busy until, like, the next new release in September with Splatoon or whatever? I guess it's kind of an open-ended question. I mean, like, for me, I can safely say with the booster course pass to Mario Kart, it's absolutely working. Like, I noticed when the first pass came out, Wave 1, I had a noticeable uptick in my Mario Kart 8 playtime. And frankly, the tracks that were just announced in Wave 2, they seem way more exciting. I mean, a whole new one with Sky High Sunday, 2 top-tier ones, Waluigi Pinball and Mushroom Gorge. I mean, did you guys see the full list? Are you into Wave 2? What do you think of the kart tracks that they announced? I think they're out this week.
It's cool. It's more Mario Kart. It's generally exciting. I think the one that stood out to me the most was Calamari Desert. Mainly more for nostalgic reasons. It's not like the most exciting track, but it was a track that I remember playing the most with my dad, and I remember it being his favorite track as well. So it was like, oh man, that track. But otherwise, that new Ice Cream Canyon looks cool. Mushroom Gorge. I mean, I'm glad we're gonna get that music back because that was kind of catchy.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't really remember a lot of the rest. Even Waluigi Pinball, it's a cool track. I'll give it that.
I love Waluigi Pinball. It's my favorite.
Love Waluigi Pinball.
Yes, thank you. I knew we were friends for a reason.
So excited.
Knew we were friends.
So psyched.
Were there any others that jumped out to you? right? Oh, so are you finally gonna get? Are you finally gonna upgrade your Switch Online?
God, no. Why
Worth the
would
price
I
of
do that?
admission, except not.
No, I'm just gonna buy the booster course.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna do.
And I'm sure once it's out, I think it comes out on Thursday, the 4th, or the 5th maybe, so Friday. But I'm sure we, or at least I, we'll probably have more to say next episode once we actually can play them and see what the Ice Cream Canyon, as you called it, Angel, the Sky High Sundae, what that looks like. But yeah, like on the Mario Kart side, this idea of like just pumping up an old game with new content seems to work. But Angel, one of the other things they announced, so it was actually already in their booth at Comic-Con and fully playable. Mario Strikers Battle League, they had the update running in the booth with Daisy, with Shy Guy, with the Desert Ruin Stadium. Do those move the needle for you at all? Because I think you're the only one out of the three of us that bought the game. So is that stuff you're into, or is it kind of just like you don't care?
I mean, it's more content. I personally don't. I mean, I got Bowser. I can't honestly. I can't think of a single character that would make me go like, "Oh my god, I'm so glad they're in," because I'm already satisfied.
Sure.
If anything, it's more of a. I'm happy there's more characters because my other friend who is really into it, that basically went from my brother and I beat him on our first try. He's someone that we still always play Mario Strikers with, like all the Mario Strikers. Like we usually get competitive with him in all our Mario sports games. And yeah, after he spent the night figuring out the game, he figured it out. Now he's like almost unbeatable at this point, unless I add many more hours into the game. But he's the one that's like, he's already like maxed out everything. I think within a couple hours or a few sessions, he said that he already had enough money to buy everything, and he just ran out of content. Like he just ran out. He already had beaten the campaign. There wasn't really too much to do online outside of just like playing with friends. So, and even then, because there's only like there's 10 characters total, you can only have like so many teams without like repeating characters, which was not really a problem in the other Mario Strikers games. So seeing more characters in that sense is nice, just because, I'm going to pick Bowser, and the 3 characters don't really matter to me. Like, I'll just pick sometimes 3 Yoshis or 3 Toads. But, it's cool seeing more diversity. So seeing Shy Guys added in is cool, like, because I could throw those in as minions or whatever. And I know Daisy, actually, more than anything, I take this back a little bit. I am very excited, not for any specific character, but just seeing characters in general, because damn, like the way these characters are animated are still so really awesome. Like even just seeing like Daisy's like perfectly arced backflip just gave me like the biggest like oh my god, like whoever animated this like clearly like studied like the 12 principles and applied it to this backflip. Like the way they move, like everything is just so it's so awesome. So
yeah,
I can't wait to see her super kick. I can't wait to see Shy Guy super strike, and as well as a bunch of other characters for that matter.
Next level games, more next level animations. But yeah, no, they seriously
it's that was the best thing about Luigi's Mansion.
Agreed.
Both Luigi's Mansion.
Kevin, did you end up buying? You didn't buy Strikers, did you? You're like me, huh?
No, I did not buy it.
Yeah, welcome to the club. I will say,
Kevin's like, Jesus, for the 3rd time, no.
Well, I don't know if he bought it in secret later. No, I was gonna say,
that's a good point.
Playing it with 4 people where each person's designated a character and they stick to that character is a lot more fun than when I did the first kick and I had no idea where I was because they kept moving me around. But it still didn't quite, I don't know if it's enough to get me. I will say I do really like their theming these updates subtly. Like, I don't know if this is a coincidence or do I keep it going, but Daisy, Princess of Sahara, whatever that land is from Mario Land, which is desert initially. Shy Guy, his golf course in Mario Golf. Shy Guy Desert. The Desert Ruin Stadium. Like, if they're doing these kind of loose threads to connect characters, I kind of want to see what fun they have with it with future updates. Like, if they do like a tropical one, it's like, oh look, now there's like an Isle Delfino Stadium, and with it is a Pianta playable character or something like that. Like, they could have a lot of fun with it. So I'm curious if this is a fluke or if this is the start of a pattern or what. But it's definitely better than Mario Golf, where it's like, here's a Shy Guy and he's blue. It's like, oh, okay.
So, unfortunately, for better or worse, the thing that becomes more apparent the more you play is how the character you pick doesn't really matter as much as it's all the gear, ones, right? Yeah, it's really just the gear. So like you could basically pick any character, and make them whatever you want. And then like, so like, oh, I want Rosalina, but I want her to be my striker instead of like my technique person, or I want Bowser to be my speedy person because I just want to have Bowser in my team, but I don't necessarily want him to be the heavy hitter, which is cool. But then, you miss a little bit of that like personality that some of those characters had in the other games. Like everyone had a special charge shot, everyone had a specific defense, like some characters could teleport, blah blah blah. The Toads could jump over the goalie. Now everyone plays the same basically. So
Well,
adding more characters, so I guess it means in theory they could have an even bigger roster because they all basically play the same. It's just a matter of, I don't even know, I guess what their base characteristics are.
Yeah, it's just like one of
what
three
you can do
classes essentially, right? Because there's like heavy.
Yeah, you got your. Yeah, it's like heavy, speed, technique, passing. So there's a few things, but yeah. So yeah, keep it coming, Nintendo. Just like you're doing with, I guess the Mario Kart. I guess they did that with tennis and Mario Golf, but I don't know. I like them both, but they just fell off.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the thing, like, I think Nintendo keeps running into is they do these smaller releases up front and then pad them with content in the hope that it'll keep them alive, but then, like, it just kind of falls off because people either lose interest or they feel it's undervalued. Like your friend who, like, beat the whole game and probably didn't feel it was worth the $60 at the time. But yeah, like, every game this summer that's, like, they're pumping up is all about that. Like, for me, I guess the update that's supposed to, like, get me rehooked on a game that I already bought is Switch Sports, right? Like they added last week the ability to play soccer matches online using the leg strap. There's some new moves in volleyball. There's surprise additions of 2 new rankings, I guess you could call them. There's S rank and Infinity rank. And yeah, this one, unless there's anything else you want to say about Mario Strikers, I was just to touch on what Switch Sports has been like for me with the update.
I'll allow it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you kindly. But yeah, this one, it's interesting to me because I think there's sort of like 2 ways to look at it. Like, first, there's the mechanics of it, right? Because this isn't just like what you were saying with Mario Strikers. It's kind of just like every character's kind of neutral to a degree. You just get some flourishes or a new look of a stadium or something like that. But like here, like they're changing fundamental stuff in some of the modes. So just talking mechanics here, it boils down to volleyball getting better and soccer kind of making a, I guess, lateral move. So volleyball definitely is still my favorite of the newer sports included in Switch Sports. I was saying this back in April, I think, but I just think the way it balances the motion controls, like actual reliance on a teammate, is really fun. And what's neat with this update is they added 2 new moves that kind of give you a little more personal agency over your performance, so you're not as reliant on your teammate while it is still a very team-heavy activity. One is the rocket serve, which if you swing your Joy-Con at just the right moment when serving the ball, you get a nice little boost to the serve itself. But the more elaborate one that can actually change up your strategies quite a bit is this new slide attack where you sort of, I guess, quickly dash back and forth and kind of throw off your opponent of where you're going to, spike the ball from. And you do that by wiggling the stick left and right. And then you proceed to spike the ball. And that's the only time you can do it, when you're the one next to spike. But even for the opponent, they too, if they see you do this, can try and counter your slide with their own block using the same left and right motion. So there's like an offense and a defense version of it. And it just sort of adds another layer to, I guess, what you need to do in the mode. It's not just what the screen prompts you to do anymore, because if you're playing volleyball, for those who haven't, it's like, all right, serve, now bump, now spike, and you do the different motions. But this kind of adds like a random element to it a little. It's almost evolved into like kind of a light rock paper scissors type of situation, which is really fun. It really does add a lot. But then there is soccer, and this is the big like banner thing that they have with Switch Sports, right? It now supports the leg strap as an input option. You're actually making a kicking motion with your leg to kick the ball. Sounds great. And right away, the most apparent thing to me was that this does capture the actual spirit of Wii Sports, because before the update, as I think I mentioned when the game first came out, soccer kind of stuck out like a sore thumb because it was basically all button and stick movement. Now, should you choose to use the leg strap, you can still navigate your character with the stick, but they'll auto-run to the ball otherwise, very much like in Wii Tennis of old or modes like that, and you just need a kick. And that gives it this kind of ease of entry that made Wii Sports really what it was, and made it, they're not just like arcade sports games or sports sims, they're like this other way of playing a sport, and this now captures that. The problem is you're sort of limited if you go the leg strap route. you can kick. That's it. And you can only kick straight ahead, whichever way your character is facing. There's no deeper angling you can do in how you position your physical kick, nor is there a way to do the headbutt move you can do with the face button controls. Instead, I guess Nintendo tried to counterbalance that by making the leg strap kick stronger than the button-based kick. So it's like, oh, well, you don't have two moves, but your kick's a little better. And that's fine, I guess. Like, it's fine enough. The game does display who's in leg strap mode for everyone's reference when playing online, just like, the Wii Wheel and Mario Kart Wii or whatever was always shown. But it's still, even with the kicking, however you want to kick, physical button, it still just plays so slow. And some of the auto movement towards the ball when you're in the leg strap mode can be finicky when the game decides to face your character in the direction of where it thinks the ball will be kicked next instead of where it actually currently is. Meaning there are times that you're auto running away from the ball, which ultimately may be the right move. I don't know, but it's hard to let it happen in the moment because it just feels wrong. Like, it just feels incorrect and you keep trying to course correct it. But all that said, like, in the game's defense, I did have a good time in matches where my randomly selected, online teammates or whatever. Like, when we gelled well, it was still kind of fun. There is some fun to be had. It's just not as immediate or, I guess, guaranteed levels of fun as some of the other sports, which kind of brings me to the second half of my thoughts, because there's the mechanics, as I covered, but there's also just the underlying motivation to play and to find fun in that. And back in April, I think that was a big question mark hanging over the game. Like, are the weekly outfit and emote unlocks enough to keep going? Is just trying to maintain a high rank in competitive play enough to overlook, the to a degree simpleness of the actual gameplay, like how simple it is? And I think the answer is, for me, at least, not quite. Like, I had fun with Switch Sports early on. I was buying into the whole, like, diet game as service approach Nintendo was selling for the sake of, them pushing their Switch Online subscriptions. But then I kind of fell off. I missed some of the unlockables, or at least the sets, because they're only there for like a week or two, which killed a lot of my future motivation to play. So I don't really have much reason to go back. But funny enough, it was actually at Comic-Con that I rediscovered where the game's real underlying fun lies for me, because I was playing against a friend of ours. I was playing, like, Nigel did the booth with me. For those who regularly listen, you may recognize Nigel as one of the people that was on our 10th anniversary special last November, and Angel, Kevin, I hope you guys definitely recognize the name Nigel. But yeah, that was a lot of fun with him. So much so that we actually started talking after we played it about potentially doing like an online Switch Sports bowling league among friends or something. And I have no idea if that's going to pan out. Who knows? But the point is, I think for me, ultimately, where Switch Sports shines brightest is where Wii Sports ended up shining brightest, which is as a social activity with friends. Online with randoms isn't the same. Like, emotes don't replace vocal or visual reactions from friends, and I think as Nintendo keeps adding new sports like golf and the rumored ones folks have apparently data mined, I see those less as they're not necessarily reasons to want to get an S rank or an Infinity rank in my mind, but they're more kind of new opportunities or experiences to play with real friends that maybe once there are enough sports included in the package will actually buy the game. That's kind of where Nigel landed on it, from what I recall. So in that sense, yeah, I think the idea of the Switch Sports updates or the Mario Strikers updates or what have you to drive further sales could work for Nintendo. But for an early adapter like me, just waiting till there's enough for friends to take the plunge, it's not necessarily the best route Nintendo could have gone with all said and done. Like, I would have been happy doing game nights of Switch Sports as a full package back in April when it first came out. But if ultimately, they expand the game to include a lot more sports beyond golf, then sure. Then it's like DLC for anything else at that point. Then it's fine. Time will tell if we get there. But yeah, it was interesting to play Switch Sports again and see what Nintendo's trying to do in parallel with everything else we've been talking about. And yet, they didn't quite hit it in my mind. So hopefully they add more. That's ultimately what I'm really wishing for. I'm kind of in the same like wait and see that I think you are with Strikers right now, Angel. It's just kind of like, let's see what they do. Let's see where this goes. But yeah, it was kind of a strange update to play. So anyway, that's my Nintendo rant. Yeah.
Dang, you snuck in a sales corner in there.
I sure did. You know what's funny? So I tried very hard not to do, because one of the things with Randomer for the folks out there, we were like, yeah, we're not going to do like sales numbers or anything. We're just going to talk about things we want to talk about. And I was trying to make the point about like how these games keep like the reason Nintendo's pumping up these games and why we're getting these updates. And I wasn't even thinking sales numbers, and then I just like instinctively went to NPD charts and started pulling numbers. And only after I like wrote down all the numbers was I like, oh, well I'm not supposed to do this anymore.
Like, I mean, that last statement can't be true because, like you said, we're gonna talk about. I mean, we're not gonna talk about sales numbers, but we're just gonna talk about what we want. And I mean, if that's what you want to do, then
yeah. And it just, I wouldn't have led with MPD. Like I didn't start with MPD. It just kind of happened. Oops, all NPD. Oops, all berries.
MPD just happened.
MPD just
happened.
They actually just merged.
Now I know Kirby is doing numbers.
Yeah, it's doing surprisingly big numbers. It's like one of the best performing Kirby's in a long time. But anyway, let's move away from MPD.
It doesn't suck?
No, it does not. You could even say that for a character. I think I even tweeted this. For a character with no legs, his game sure has some. Thank you. That's my time. It's been a pleasure.
And on that note...
well, actually, before we go, I feel like we gotta talk about one other thing. There's one other thing we gotta talk about. The one thing that was like Comic-Con in purest Comic-Con form, Marvel showed up.
And Marvel announced...
Oh. What did you say? I was getting drunk. Well, the second thing that was purest Comic-Con in Comic-Con form, Marvel showed up and like went super big. Like people thought maybe they'd do Wakanda Forever and they did put out a really, really awesome trailer for that. I thought that trailer was really well edited.
Excuse my ignorance, but Marvel did stuff?
Yeah, Saturday night when we were at Dragon Ball Z waiting in line, Marvel basically announced the next like 4 years of movies. Not all of them, mind you, but they announced that we're in Phase 4 right now, then comes Phase 5, then comes Phase 6.
Thingy.
Yeah, and I was just curious, because I know, Angel, well, first of all, where are we all at in terms of our Marvel interests? Because I know, Angel, you're probably the most attached, but Kevin, you've been a little more invested. Where do we stand now that we're at what's apparently the end of Phase 4 this year? Even though it just started.
Have not seen Miss Marvel, have not seen Thor, which is weird because Ragnarok's probably my favorite MCU movie.
I still need to see Thor if you want to go sometime.
And what else? What else Marvel came out?
I
feel like something
Moon Knight,
recently.
Doctor Strange, Moon Knight.
I saw Moon Knight, saw Doctor Strange.
That's it. You're caught up.
What's the next MCU movie coming out?
Wakanda Forever in November.
Okay, Wakanda Forever, and yeah, that was a good trailer. I guess I did not think that the first Black Panther movies was all that good, but this one does look good.
I would say Black Panther
showed very well.
Wasn't my favorite of the bunch. I understand what it meant to a lot of people, and I understand what the representation provided them, and that's awesome. Like the same thing I was saying about Dragon Ball and how it like clicked with certain people. That's awesome. But as a movie itself, where I didn't have that personal connection, it was fine. It was good. It just didn't
I agree.
blow the roof off for me. But yeah, so apparently, well, Kevin, you're apparently missing a whole chunk of Phase 4, which ends arbitrarily with Wakanda Forever. And that's kind of thing, because Angel, you don't watch anything, right? At this point, you just watch the last minute to get the spoiler and move on.
No, not even that. It's just, I think I'm just
over it.
Done. Like, yeah, like I think I will only watch, like the only things that would like go on my radar, I guess, would be anything Spider-Man related. Not specifically because it has to be Tom Holland, just Spider-Man in general.
Which they did announce a Spider-Man project.
They did. Spider-Man Freshman Year. An animated series.
Yeah, if it's a series, I guess it automatically goes into the not really going to bother.
Well, it's animated, and it's riffing on... Is riffing on Spider-Verse or riffing on... No, it's riffing on... Never mind, the Tom Holland ones.
Wait, you wouldn't see a Spider-Man TV series with Tom Holland?
I don't know.
Like a live-action Spider-Man TV series? Wow, interesting.
Damn, my first instinct is to say no.
Wow.
Because...
Wow.
I don't know. It just... I'm sure it'd be fine. Like, to me, Marvel has reached that point where... Well, general Marvel MCU... Yeah. The MCU projects have reached a point where I will only watch it if the group that we're in wants to do that as a unit. I'll go and do that. Or if it's already playing, like... The only reason I saw the first episode of Moon Knight was because my sister and brother-in-law... Well, yeah, and then they were watching it. But then I never saw the rest of it.
Sure.
I think.
But I mean, I don't dislike it. It's just I think I started keeping up with other content that it became even less like I can barely.
Yeah, because the
keep all
MCU
the stuff
is just too much. Like
I think that's.
I don't
yeah.
think-
Yeah.
I don't
Like, I
think
mean,
that there's
I
been a gap in MCU content since the start of last year. Like a large gap.
We haven't had more than like 6 weeks. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I was mildly interested in Doctor Strange, but it
I
kind
think
of just went away.
I think the problem, Kevin, you hit the nail on the head with oversaturation, because I'm looking at this list of projects they announced. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 things between now and 2025. So 17 things over 3 years, not including Wakanda Forever. So it's Phase 5 and up. And I think what's happening, and I still enjoyed the Marvel stuff. Like I almost feel like I'm in a sunk cost fallacy situation where like I've seen every Marvel movie in a theater except Black Widow because of COVID. I've seen all the shows. Like I feel like, except What If, actually I haven't watched that. But I feel like
Oh yeah, I didn't see What If either.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the tipping point. It's like, we're doing multiverse. You don't need to worry about this, except now they're folding it back in. So I guess you do need to worry about it. But like, I'm so far in, like I just need to see where it goes. And this idea of like the multiverse saga, as they're now calling it, kind of like there's the Infinity Saga for the first 3 phases. Now this is the multiverse saga for the next 3. On paper, that sounds great. Like, I'm like, cool. Like, let's see if they can top what they did with Avengers. Let's see if they can top what they did with the Infinity Stones. Sure. But then when you actually get into it, it just feels like there's so much, and it's a weird. It's almost like it's almost like not an oxymoron, but I'm gonna contradict. There's so much, but they're not dedicating enough time to any of it. Like, what I mean by that is I really enjoyed parts of Miss Marvel. I thought the first 2 episodes were super fun. They were smaller scale. They had kind of a Scott Pilgrim like graphic overlay vibe. It was kind of quirky. It was kind of funny. It like felt different from the MCU as we know it. Moon Knight did kind of similar in a different direction. It was a little Indiana Jonesy, but like Miss Marvel in particular, first 2 episodes really solid, small scale, small stakes, just like a little slice of Marvel instead of this whole world-ending thing. And then the next 2 episodes, it becomes one of those, oh, the whole world's going to end if you don't do something. And I was like, oh, and it got kind of generic, and they like pulled back on some of the overlays and graphical effects and stuff. And I was like, okay, it's just another, the world's going to end, only she can save it. But then for the last episode, they went back to the small stakes, and it ended really strong because of that. And I think they're in this weird situation where they're pumping out so much stuff, and they're trying to get to this end goal at the end of Phase 6 with 2 Avengers movies in 1 year in 2025 for this multiverse saga, that it feels like they're simultaneously doing too much and not enough. Because if they kept Miss Marvel small, if they just focused on the little, like, her life in Jersey City and discovering her powers, and then maybe the stuff where they, slight spoiler, go to Pakistan, maybe all that stuff is like a season 2, and then everything else was season 1, that'd be cool. I'd be super into that. I would have had a lot more fun with that. But because they have this end goal in 3 years, but they also want to introduce 17 different projects, everything's just like compressed down. So all the Marvel TV shows are 6 episodes. All the movies,
except
are just
for
boom,
Daredevil.
boom, boom.
Daredevil's going to be 18
true.
episodes.
Yeah, Daredevil Born Again, 18 episodes. Yeah, you're right. But for the most part, everything's like really.
I love Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. He's fantastic. I'm glad that they brought him over from the Netflix shows.
Yeah, and I suspect like there's gonna be more of that. Like they have the rights to Jessica Jones as well, which I know a lot of people like. So, or not the rights, but they have it on Disney Plus now, so it might just be a matter of time. But just this weird, minus Daredevil, this weird balancing act where like they're rushing to something, but they also have too much going on at the same time. It's really weird. It makes all these phases feel really disjointed. Like Phase 1, 2, 3 was so easy to follow because it's like, all right, here's the 4 Avengers basically. Now here's their first movie. Now here's the sequels to their individual stories. Now here's their second movie. Now here's, and they slowly expanded out, but now they're describing Phase 4 as a chance to meet a whole bunch of new characters. And that just arbitrarily ends. Like, what's the difference between having Blade in Phase 4 or Phase 5? It comes out next year. Like, Daredevil, it's apparently Phase 5. Could be Phase 4. I mean, I guess he showed up briefly in Spider-Man, so maybe that's his Phase 4 debut. But it seems like the phases are getting a little more arbitrary.
Spider-Man was Phase 3.
They need a... What was that?
Spider-Man was the end of Phase 3.
No, right. Yeah. Well, that
It
was a
wasn't
weird
that game.
rights thing too. Yeah, that's
Oh
a
no,
weird
wait,
rights
no,
thing,
no,
too.
no, no. I'm totally wrong. No Way Home was the
what
end.
defines a phase? An Avengers movie?
No,
So in the old days, the phases were the individual movies leading into an Avengers, and then the individual movies leading into the Avengers, and then the individual movies leading into Infinity War.
nope.
Endgame.
You are also wrong. So phase
No, are
one
you
ended
sure?
with phase one ended with Avengers.
Yeah, and phase 2 was Age of Ultron.
Okay.
Nope. Phase two ended with Ant-Man.
What?
I shit you not. The end of phase two ended
Why?
with Ant-Man.
Why not Age of Ultron? It was right there.
I'm not Kevin Feige. I'm Kevin Gomez.
I
okay.
know, but you share the same first name, so I assume you know all the answers.
No, I don't know why Ant-Man was the end of phase two, but similarly, the end of phase three was not Avengers Endgame. It was No Way Home. Not No Way Home, Far From Home.
Oh, right, because that was like tying up the loose ends of Endgame.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I take back some of what I'm saying. But my point still stands that they're trying to do a lot in a little amount of time, and it's making things very messy, and nothing's getting room to breathe. Which is weirdly the problem I had with Falcon and Winter Soldier, where like it felt like it was too long to be a movie, but too short to be a series, and just kind of this weird gray area. And that's what a lot of this feels
It's
like
funny
now.
because like they literally. I mean, it's not a new comparison. Like everyone has made this already, but it's literally become like it's another way. It's become comics at this point.
Yeah,
It's
which
like no
is
different.
fine.
It's like
I
the same
understand.
reason.
Yeah.
No, wait, which is fine. And honestly, like it's kind of cool. It's like the same reason you would want to get into or be too intimidated to get into a certain comic run is not the same reason you'd be into or too intimidated to get into the MCU movies.
The problem with that is, and I understand what you're saying, but the thing with comics is you can generally get away with skipping 90% of we'll say, of a DC or even Marvel's entire comic book run, or like a current run, and not be confused, while pretty much everything, especially for this multiverse.
Oh, actually, yeah,
Well,
yeah, good point.
This multiverse saga, especially, a lot of it is interconnected.
And it gets
even the
really
because at least
tricky.
with comics too, there's
Like, I don't know if
Actually,
you
no,
know this, but at the
with
end
the movies,
of
right?
Eternals, Blade makes a cameo appearance.
Yeah. And also Harry Styles as a guy named Star Fox, not to be confused with Fox McCloud.
Sure, but like the fact that
But I mean, I
Blade
guess-
isn't at the end of the
Yeah.
oh, spoiler alert. Oops. But the fact that Blade makes a voice cameo,
Wesley Snipes.
No,
No,
the new, Marshall Ali
new-
now, but yeah.
you don't I don't think
Oh,
I've
he's
ever seen him.
cool.
Oh, have you?
He did the voice of the Prowler in
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Into the
Yeah.
Spider-Verse.
Versus Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
You're right.
He did.
Yeah, he's in
Yeah,
the
and
movie.
it's
Wow,
Kevin.
the doubt.
I didn't doubt you, but Kevin, to your point, yeah, it is getting convoluted.
I'm sorry, Angel.
because it used to.
Like, this guy doesn't know who this guy
This guy
is.
doesn't know
I
anything.
was like, because he's been in a lot of like very like.
What's
indie
he about to
darling
say?
movies.
He has, or like House,
So,
or like
I
House
was
of
like,
Cards is where he got his
there's
first
no-
like break. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, there's no way that Angel has seen Moonlight. You know,
Wasn't
Yeah.
he also in an Oscar-nominated movie as well?
Mm-hmm.
he's been in a lot of them. I think Moonlight's the one where he was nominated for an Oscar.
But yeah, I think
To be fair, I
I-
haven't seen Moonlight, so
me neither, actually. But no, I think what I was getting at, kind of, and Kevin, I think you're hitting the head. It's getting more convoluted, it's getting more complicated, and then they're trying to like rush through it. And even the way they announce this, like there's so many people like, "What's going on? I don't understand what these phases are building to." So then Kevin Feige got on stage at Comic-Con, is like, "All right, well, listen, here's where Phase 5 happens, and here's why you need to watch Phase 4 because there's a season 2 of Loki." There's a sequel to WandaVision with Agatha, Coven of Chaos. There's Captain America New World Order, which you gotta know what's going on in Falcon and Winter Soldier to appreciate that. There's Thunderbolts ending the phase. That's, we've been dropping nuggets of that in some of the shows. I'm not gonna say more than that. But, you gotta watch those. So, like, they started to kind of be like, here's why you should care about Phase 4, because here's what it leads to. But then I guess, like, even they didn't have enough confidence in that being enough. So then they're like, all right, and here's Phase 6. And like, we're not going to tell you everything, but it's going to end with 2 different Avengers movies. It's going to have Secret Wars. Like, all the multiverses, from my understanding, Secret Wars, they'll kind of come together. So, like, things are going to get real crazy. But you need to know
Multiverses.
now. You need to know what's going on in Phase 4 so you can appreciate Phase 6.
Multiversi?
And I don't remember ever, with the original Marvel Infinity Saga, them needing to so clearly be like, this is why you should care. Like, this is why you need to watch this so you can appreciate that. Like, it just kind of naturally evolved. And it feels like because there's so much going on now, the fact that they have to spell it out and, like, list it out and be like, this leads to that, and that guy pops up here, and you're introduced to him there, but he's relevant here. Like, it just feels like it's so much more like
To be fair,
convoluted.
they did this with Phase 3 back Comic-Con 2000.
No, but what I'm saying is they didn't have to go 3 phases ahead, and they didn't have to they didn't have to like this felt like, as much as I like watching the shows, the way they presented it felt very much like they heard the criticism that Phase 4 is kind of just meandering, which it isn't. Now that we know everything else, it's lining stuff up, but it was so like vague and so like messy that there's like, all right, fine, here's the entire saga mapped out for you. Okay, you happy now? And in that, and the fact that they mapped out 17 projects, you realize, oh man, there's a lot of stuff coming, and all these things already feel kind of rushed, like Ms. Marvel. So like, how crazy is this gonna get? And I'm still gonna watch everything. Don't get me wrong, but like, it's nice to have a sense of where things are going a little, but at the same time, it's just like there's so much, and all of them feel so short at the same. Like, I don't know, it's weird. And then there's weird stuff like Hawkeye, which I really enjoyed. I don't think Echo needs a spin-off show. I don't know why. I felt like
we talked about this on Quarantine Chronicles. She not only was her arc closed, she's also, and I'm sorry to this actress, and I understand what her character means for representation, but holy crap, is she boring?
Yeah, it's just like, yeah,
you're gonna represent this very, very, like, she's representative of people like amputees and deaf, and she's also Native American. And you make her character just wet cardboard.
Yeah.
Oh my god, how they
And then you give her a spin-off
Echo?
show, which they act like you have to watch, but they don't tell you why. When they tease the spin-off show, you should care. And then they go to Comic-Con and go, well, it's part of Phase 5, you're going to care. And you're like, I guess I care, because then in Phase 6, they all come together. So,
because
okay.
because they're double showing up in Echo. And so is Kingpin.
Yeah, and that's what they also had to sort of say. He didn't say it in that many words, but it's been like they've kind of, I guess what I'm saying is they're doing more telling than showing, and showing's always stronger than telling. That's
and
what
Echo did not show well.
Yeah, exactly. So now they have to tell.
Character.
And now they have to tell. Even She-Hulk, the new trailer they released at Con-Con, they have a tease at the end of the trailer, which is them being like telling more than showing. They're like, look, you should watch this for this reason. And I feel
what a stupid stupid reveal.
Yeah, and I feel like MCU Phase 1, 2, 3 felt so organic and was so smooth because I guess, relatively speaking, it was simple. That now that they're getting into full comic book craziness, which again is great that they're able to bring audiences along. I've said this many times on the show, but they're able to bring audiences along for that ride and get them to actually understand what's going on. But it's starting to seem like they're not getting them to understand what's going on. They're telling them what's going on. And then part of the reason they're not getting them to understand is they're speed running through it, and everything's super short, so you don't get time for things to breathe to organically reach the point where you would care. But, to Marvel's credit, if they take too long with these things, maybe people won't care and will fall off. So they're walking a weird tightrope right now, where they're trying to they know they can get people to invest in 28 2-hour-long stories. They're still, I think, not sure, maybe rightfully so, if they can get people to invest in 6 to 8 hour long stories. 17 of them in the next 3 years. So, with the shows and everything. So, I get it's not an easy tightrope to walk. It just feels very messy to me right now compared to how smooth Infinity Saga felt.
Is there anything on that they announced that you are excited about?
Oh, yeah. I think, well, Ant-Man's always kind of fun in a cheesy way. So, I'm looking forward to Quantumania. I think I read somewhere or saw some area that Secret Invasion, which is the Colby Smulders fronted one, which is a TV show. It's supposed to be like a kind of a more grounded, darker MCU project. So I'm kind of curious what that looks like. Obviously,
I totally forgot that Secret Invasion was going to be a thing.
Yeah, it's a TV show next spring. Obviously, Guardians Volume 3 comes out on my birthday, actually. But I apparently, from people, I have a friend that
go see that one together?
Yeah, let's do it. Why not?
Angel,
you down to see Guardians 3 on my birthday or around my birthday?
Oh, I was asking Angel. I wasn't asking you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm down.
Nice. All right.
Well, have fun on my birthday.
We'll tell you how it is, yeah. You'll probably have dinner with your girlfriend anyways.
Yeah, but maybe
don't you always watch them with your...
we watch some Marvel stuff together, but more the merrier for my birthday. All right, fine, whatever. You guys have each other. But actually the Marvels... I'm really looking forward to because I really had, like I said, Miss Marvel as a character I really liked. It was just that middle episodes. Yeah, those are the ones that jump out at me.
you to understand the Marvels, you also must have seen WandaVision.
Yes.
I totally forgot about that.
Yep.
Jesus.
So and that's the thing is like it was so easy in the Infinity Saga. Like if you didn't see Black Panther, that's fine. He showed up in Avengers and you're like, oh, there's Black Panther. Done. But there's gonna be stuff you don't fully know unless you see all the other stuff. So I get why this feels sloppy is they don't know how to walk that line. No, it's all new territory. But it feels sloppy. It just feels sloppy. I don't know. I am curious about Thunderbolts as well, which is going to be a movie based entirely, it seems like, off the teasers of the TV shows. So that will be, like the stingers of the TV shows. So that will be interesting. Maybe it ties into New World Order, the next Captain America. I'm not sure. But, yeah. So there's just a lot of craziness right now. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. It goes back to the show don't tell thing, I think. So we'll see what it unfolds into. But just coming out of Comic-Con, like seeing all that news, I was just like, that's a lot. And I'll watch it all, but like I don't have the same sort of drive as I did.
Yeah. Let's talk about DC real quick. They showed Shazam and
Black Adam.
All right, let's wrap it up. Nothing to say about those two.
One more piece of DC news breaking as of this recording. Super Pets is becoming an expanded universe. There you go.
There's actually some breaking news that I actually saw that was kind of relevant to what we were talking about.
Was it Super Pets becoming expanded? I use breaking news loosely. That broke like 10 hours ago.
No.
I'm happy for Kevin Hart and The Rock to have more time to work with each other. They seem like genuine friends.
Would you say they're a dynamic duo to keep it in the DC parlance?
I don't know if I would call them a dynamic duo, but they seem like good buddies. Like I feel like it. Oh wait, have I seen a movie with both of them? I was about to say I feel like the supposed friendship that I'm assuming is real seems to kind of translate to film, but I guess I wouldn't know.
What an endorsement. I think they're friends, and I think that friendship, should it be real, translates well to a film I have yet to see.
It's funny because I've seen a lot of behind the scene footage of just both of them.
Oh yeah, like at the press junkets and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
like The Rock imitating Kevin Hart. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, they're Jumanji, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jumanji.
Yeah, they're in those Jumanji movies.
Wait, The Rock's in Jumanji?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he is. Of course. Yeah. Wow.
It's a jungle, so
he's also in Jungle Cruise, which is super confusing. So he's in 2 Jungle movies that came out like a year apart. But anyway, I think with that we might be done. It was a pretty stacked episode because Comic-Con. Was there anything you guys want to talk about before we wrap it up?
No, I think I covered everything. I mean, yeah, Comic-Con is a little bit of everything.
It is.
Oh, I do. I will save it for next episode. But I'll save it for next episode.
Oh no, you gotta do the sting. End it like a Marvel show. Give us the stinger. Give us the tease.
Let's just say a piece of media recently moved me to tears.
And if you all find out, everyone out there, what that piece of media is and just how many tears Kevin shed, you can check out our next episode. Make sure you don't miss it by subscribing to us on all the podcast apps. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music. Our YouTube is RamNintendo.com. We're also on Twitter at RamNintendo. We're individually on Twitter. I'm JSR7. Kevin is KVN Gomi. Angel is Weiro, WEIRO_O. I think that's all the bookkeeping, all the house notes. Who wants final word? Someone just shout it out.
I think I did it last time.
Angel, final word.
Therefore.
God damn it.